So I have seen a lot of veteran players over the last year, especially as they have added things like mounts that cost 50 million gil and Ishgard restoration being something they want to level up all of their crafters for or whatever, say regularly that they don't have money. They don't have 500,000 gil, they don't have 1 million gil, they could never picture getting to 10 million. For many veteran players, this is confusing because money just seems to pile up because there is a limited number of things you need to buy in this game, and once you kind of have those, once you have all the jobs you want leveled, once you have the mounts and the minions and the things you want, and you have the glamour the way you like it, your money tends to just keep coming in, and so it tends to just pile up. And not to huge piles, but always enough that if you ever want that next crafted set, it's always enough. You always have enough for the amount of materia you need. Repairs and teleports are cheap. You just seem to be very comfortable. Now, to new players, don't worry. New players between now and Endwalker, your goal is to get settled into the game. Get through MSQ, then worry about this. You've got plenty of content, but the people I'm concerned about after going through 5.5 are the people who don't like relics or have finished all their savage raids or whatever, and their number of goals is dwindling, and we have, as of this recording, 177 days till early access to Endwalker. 177 days is a long time, especially if you are not on savage progression, you are not still leveling anything, you have no MSQ in front of you, and you don't like the relic systems or the other systems that are designed to be a time sink. We're going to get some seasonal events, we're going to have things like that, but mostly you're going to just have some downtime. If you want to unsubscribe or just take a break, maybe only play a couple days a week, go play something else, that's great, you're covered. But there are people that are excited for Endwalker, they want to have a reason to play, and when that group of people overlaps with people who say, I just can't make money, I wanted to make some really low-hanging fruit for how you can make a preposterous amount of money, 20, 30, 50, however much you want. You want to make 20 million gil before the expansion, it is a very doable number. I'm using super fuzzy math because every single server's prices are going to vary. Your time's going to vary, how optimal you want to be. I ran through this live on stream playing suboptimally. I used no cordials. I was talking during it. I took time teleporting. There was no effort in making this as minimum as possible, and it took me what will be an average of 27 minutes per day to go through all of this. 27 minutes per day, every single day for 177 days, and based on today's numbers, I would make 28.2 million gil. That's a lot. So how did I get there? The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a culinarian and a botanist at cap. Now, I have heard people who make money leveling crafters. I know for a fact that you can make a ton of money leveling gatherers. If you need to go do that still, then this is a great excuse to go do that. Go dive into those systems. Try out one gatherer, try out one crafter. Use Ishgard Restoration, it's really straightforward. Use the diadem, it's really straightforward, and go do that. If I only had 90 days remaining once those were at cap, so it took you half of the time between now and Endwalker to cap those two jobs, you would still make 14.3 million. So it's still a big number. It's a lot more than that 1 million, 2 million that I see people wishing they could get to. If you already have more than that and you just want this on top, go for it. If you're not worried about it, then don't worry about it. This is totally optional. What I don't see is any reason for a veteran player that wants money, does not have money, to go into the expansion with less than double-digit millions. I don't see any way that happens unless you just don't want to, and that's okay. This game does not require gil. So the first thing we're going to need to do is coffee biscuit turn-ins. It's a leave in the crystalline mean, called a cookie for your thoughts or something like that. And what you're going to need to do is each day, you're going to have to, for each quest, you're going to have to gather 5 beets from Ilmeg, 1 coffee bean, and 5 upland wheat from Kalusha. That's why you need the botanist. That will gather all of that. Now that's for each turn-in. That will be allowed to be turned into 3 coffee biscuits. There are 3 coffee biscuits per leave turn-in, and this leave can be turned in 3 times per leave allowance. You get 6 allowances per day, so you need 18 total. That means every single day you need to gather 90 beets, 18 coffee beans, and 90 upland wheat. Now these can just pile up. You could also buy these. I gathered them just in case there's somebody out there that's like, well, on my server they're not available or they're really expensive. That's okay. We're not worried about high quality. Doesn't matter. Use the normal quality, use the high quality. Doesn't matter. If you want to log in and just gather all the beats for the rest of the expansion and stack them up, you can. I gathered 1 day's worth and used 1 day's worth for the sake of this. It would be very, very, very easy to just do all of your leaves in one big sitting once a week or every 2 weeks. You get 42 per week. You can store up to 100 per time. Now, once you turn these in, it took me 21 minutes to gather this, craft it into the necessary flour and all of that, and craft it into the biscuits by using a really basic macro. There's plenty of websites out there that'll give you better macros than my self-made one. It took me 21 minutes to craft 18 quests worth of coffee biscuits, which is whatever that math is. That took me 2 minutes to turn in. The reason I'm able to turn those in so fast is that you can set the keybind to the confirm button in your system settings, and I can just slam the 0 key on my numpad every time I turn it in, and it turns them in really rapidly as long as my coffee biscuits are the top left item in my inventory. It defaults to that selection, and it grabs it really, really fast. That will get me 108,000 gil per day. If you only did that between now and the expansion, you started as of the recording of this video, just doing your daily amount, you would make 19.1 million gil off of this alone. If you do not have your botanist and your culinarian leveled, and it takes you half of the time between now and Endwalker, roughly 90 days, then with the remaining 90 days, you would make 9.7 million gil off of this and this alone. This is vendor money. You gathered your own materials. This is unaffected by your local market. This is infinite money. This vendor will print money to buy ridiculous amounts of cookies. Meanwhile, you need to be sending your retainers out on regular ventures. They make profit as far as like the items they bring back. I turn those in for seals. The seals buy more ventures than they used, and so I can use the spares to sell things like extra cordials or glamour prisms. I can sell the extra items that they bring me that are sellable, and since one of my retainers is a botanist, I can use that botanist to gather some of the materials that I would need to gather for this. And so just like if your materials were really cheap on your store, you could buy those up and save this time. But we're 24 minutes into our 27-ish, or 23 minutes into our 27 minutes. What else are we going to do? For roughly 2 minutes a day, you can pop into any max level zone, take that botanist, and go gather things. Go gather the materials you need to be gathering. I didn't count this just in case you don't need the materials that day and you still need this, because what you're gathering is your map, your Zon Your Skin map. There are many maps across the different level ranges. I just gather the max level one because it seems to have a consistent value regardless of if there's an event or something going on. These sell anywhere between 20 and I've seen them go as high as 120,000 recently. I listed mine for 45,000. It sold within 3 minutes. 40,000 per day as a rough estimate. If you gather your map every single day at 2 minutes a day, you will make an additional 7 million gil between now and the expansion, 3.6 if you're taking 90 days to level up your botanist. It shouldn't take that long. The last thing you need to do is your weekly collectibles. Your weekly collectibles, I'm doing the one in Foundation right now. Those are the highest level ones. Those are getting me another 11,500 per day through spending my yellow and white scripts on Sublime Solution and on Materia. There's other things you can spend it on as well. You're doing those weekly, and then I divided everything by 7 days. And so it actually ends up being 81,000 once a week. That works out to 11,500, and that gets you another 2 million or 1 million for those people that only do this halfway. So to do the math in total, we've got our 19.7 and 2 million. You end up at a ridiculous amount of money. You end up at 28 million gil. That's preposterous. 28 million gil before next expansion puts you halfway to a gilded Namatu. This is your first 27 minutes per day. If you end up liking gathering, you can always sell coffee biscuits to other people that just want to buy the coffee biscuits. Many times they'll pay half or more of what they'd make off the leaves so that they don't have to do the work. They can just do that 2 minutes worth of turn-in. You can go sell other gathering materials. If you want to do this in less time, you could be the one that's buying the biscuits. And then this takes way less time, so your gil per hour goes up, but your total gil made goes down. There are lots of ways to come at this, but I just wanted to talk through some really basic ways that you could make a preposterous amount of money between now and the expansion compared to the average player. There are players with hundreds of millions of gil that are doing this and more. This is without getting into selling raid materials. This is without getting into dealing with materia shuffles. This is without getting into crafting high quality, best in slot weapons or whatever that people are going to pentameld or any of all of this different stuff that people do. This is not knowing your market. This is not requiring you to have all your crafters leveled, all your gatherers leveled. This is not unspoiled nodes or anything that's time sensitive. You can do this anytime per day. This is the easiest money. At 27 minutes a day, you can make 28 million gil between now and the expansion. Go get it. If you don't want it, that's okay. But I just wanted to address this because I understand there's a lot of veteran players. They're done with MSQ. They have nothing else they want to do. And they regularly say, I wish I had more gil. Here's a solution. Just wanted to share it with you so that you could maybe enjoy gaming a little more. Kinda.